Hello everybody, welcome back to the video, and today I'm going to be discussing who I think the next James Bond should be. Kind of. You see, this is going to be part one of a two-part video. This video is going to be analyzing one specific actor, and part two will be, well, I think it's just easier to explain now. You saw the title. I think Pierce Brosnan should return for Bond 26, and it's not just because he's the best Bond. It's because of Hollywood itself. So let me explain. So, if you look back in the history of James Bond, you will see they rode trends of the time. And, right, this is why Bond went to space in Moonraker. And, why there was so much martial arts in The Man with the Golden Gun. Okay, not a lot of martial arts, but some martial arts in The Man with the Golden Gun. This is why Bond took on a drug lord in License to Kill. Why Daniel Craig's movies are the way they are is because they're trying to imitate Jason Bourne. So, what's a big trend in Hollywood right now? Legacy sequels. Bringing back old cast members to reprise their roles for new movies. Whether it be something like Scream, where it's a big role for some of them, where Scream 5 heavily featured David Arquette as Dewey Riley, or smaller cameo roles in something like Spider-Man No Way Home, where Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, who had played previous iterations of Spider-Man, are in that movie, and then the villains of their movies have a slightly bigger role in the plot. Could we see something with James Bond of a similar case? Well, here's the thing. I think there's actually a few reasons why a legacy sequel bringing back Brosnan and his cast would work. Reason number one, it would ride the trend of legacy sequels. And, also, there's two separate Bond timelines. Dr. No through Die Another Day is one timeline. Casino Royale through No Time to Die is another timeline. Basically, to make it a little bit easier, Connery through Brosnan, one timeline. Daniel Craig, another timeline. So you could, in the way the first timeline ends, you could easily say, well, okay, I'm just gonna, we can just do an extra movie at the end here, after Die Another Day, picking up a while after the events. You can do the Bond is called in for one last mission thing. Maybe tie it into someone from his past. Maybe give him a Blofeld to fight. I don't know. I'm just saying you could maybe go that direction. But this would also be reason number two. The Bond series is in kind of a tricky place right now. Because if you think about it, they're kind of coming off of two of the most divisive movies in the series. Spectre and No Time to Die. Both of which are, well, Spectre isn't a very popular movie, and No Time to Die is, without going into spoilers, the most, well, yes, I am issuing a spoiler alert for a movie that is a little over 2 years old at this point. The end of No Time to Die sees, spoilers, the death of Daniel Craig's iteration of James Bond. So the series is in kind of a difficult position going into the next reboot, where a lot of people are saying, should we even get this? The last ending was kind of definitive. So there's that, but I think the idea of having a Brosnan fifth entry, maybe you could use one of the remaining Ian Fleming story titles. Maybe something like Risiko. Just throwing that out there. You could have a fifth Brosnan movie be a buffer between the Daniel Craig era and whoever comes next. Maybe earning a few brownie points with fans before jumping into the reboot. Maybe you could do a fully faithful adaptation of an Ian Fleming book. Because right now, I'm working my way through reading Diamonds Are Forever, and if they did a faithful adaptation of this, I'm still reading it, but I'm just using this as an example. if they did a faithful adaptation of Diamonds Are Forever, it would be a completely different movie from what we actually got. And I mean, I'm not saying you have to adapt an Ian Fleming book for a Brosnan fifth movie, but you could if you wanted to. I'm just saying the point is a fifth Brosnan movie would ride the trend of legacy sequels, continuing the series' history of writing popular trends of the time, which a notable example is Bond going into space, right? Brosnan himself is still in acting, so that's another point to this. And also, I mean, who doesn't want to see Brosnan return? I mean, I've seen that he is a very popular Bond. I mean, if you watch my Bond ranking, for example, I'm not saying my opinion's the definitive one, not by a mile, but if you watch my video, I actually ranked him as number one. So I think getting Brosnan back is a great option because then you can have him act as a buffer, maybe earning some goodwill back with fans before jumping into a complete reboot. Maybe you could even go for the whole two-part big level finale thing where you have, you know, big event movie as part one and then an even bigger event as part two to end that original timeline because yeah, it just kind of stops. You don't really get any kind of closure on anything in that original timeline before it jumps into Daniel Craig. So this would allow them to fill in that part of the timeline. Maybe you could even bring back Halle Berry as Jinx. I don't know what the reception would be to that. I'm just saying that you could. But yeah, I mean, a Brosnan return, I think, makes a lot of sense. But that is it for this video. Like and subscribe, and stay tuned for part 2 when we're going to discuss new actors to take on the role. And I have a pretty hot take on that one. And by the way, that's going to be personal picks. Like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.